Okay, getting some feedback, and I guess I got to take a step backwards. So this will be um, video 1A, just basic terminology. A joke, just basic mechanical terminology of comedy. So a joke is divided into two pieces: the premise and the punchline. It is generally believed that the premise should be as efficient as possible and clear to convey what you need to make the punchline make sense and therefore be funny. Uh, Big sloppy premises uh, make for poor jokes. It is the conceived wisdom of the time. Then, if you have more than one punchline to the same premise, that is called a tag, an extra tag. You say something extra funny. So you have a premise, and then you have your punchline, and then you have tags added onto that. Why do that? Well, that's more efficient. See, because premises, people aren't laughing. They laugh at the punchline. They get done laughing at the punchline. Instead of having to go into a whole other premise, you have another tag. So you have multiple punchlines to the same premise. That's more efficient that way. If you have a premise and multiple tags, and then you add act outs, an act out is you act out the joke. You become a character in the joke created by the premise. You know, what if you're a fry cook on the moon? And then you say, start talking like the fry cook on the moon. What if you were Christopher Walken trying to buy a car, and then you do a tag and a punchline and a tag of a Christopher Walken buying a car, and then you do your Christopher Walken impression. That impression would be the act out. Okay, so you are taking one premise, and then you are doing a punchline on it, and then tags, and then act outs, and getting the most laughs out of one premise. That's why comics do that. It can become formulaic, it can become tiring, but these are the mechanics of it, and the rules of doing it are: is it funny? So now you have one premise, a punchline, multiple tags, and multiple act outs. That now becomes a bit or a chunk, depending on who you ask. A chunk is somewhere between a bit and a routine. Is some, if I say I have if you have one premise and it lasts long enough to be like 5 minutes of talking, then it becomes a bit or a chunk. Then that all forms together multiple premises with act outs and tags and act outs, all become a routine. Another thing that happens is, which people find incredibly ingenious and funny, but really isn't that hard to do, are called callbacks. Now, callback requires multiple premises and tags, but a callback is a tag for a previous premise. Right? I had to write this all down and get it all organized in my head. It's the best way to explain it. It is you have moved on to another joke. You do a joke, you do another joke, whatever, at least one other joke, and then people aren't expecting it. And surprise is funny. You, during a secondary premise and punchline and act out and tag, whatever, you then do a act out or a tag that refers to a previous premise. That is sort of second level comedy, and I've seen it being used as a great way to powerfully end a set. In other words, you do all these bits, you have all these premises that you explore with punchlines and tags and act outs. You do 3-4 of them, and then you call back on your last premise to one of your first or one of the middle jokes, and people find that ingenious and funny and big bang. It's a great way to end a set. Other terms you can run into: street jokes. Street jokes are frowned upon. It's a derogatory term. It's something you hear in the street, or I heard all of them in the 8th grade in the playground. or school. It's jokes that you would tell sitting on the bar stool, talking. Hey, a rabbi and a priest walk into a bar. These jokes are seen as soulless, because it is seen traditionally today. The new tradition of comedy is that you are relating to the audience your experience through humor. It has to be true, and it has to be you. He'll be being said all the time, so that at the end of the set, you've left an impression of you as an individual human on the audience. You or your character that you've created. They know you better. They know who you are. They feel for you. They empathize with you. You've connected with the audience. So street jokes, you can come up with new street jokes all the time, but you're better off taking that premise and turning it into something that relates to you, so that the audience has a connection with you. Whether that's right, wrong, whatever, or the fashion, I don't know. I'm just trying to tell you how it is. So street jokes, you know what a street joke is, or jokey jokes. Dad jokes. Dad jokes are sort of in the same enclave as puns and wordplay. You will see specific shows for puns, because they're this ostracized stepchild of humor. They're actually, wordplay and puns are a lot more accepted in different cultures than they are than America. The British, for example, the fair game, do all the puns you want. They love language in a different way than we do, apparently, and for some reason puns and wordplay and what we would call dad jokes, lame, easy wordplay jokes, are a hit over there. They're a big deal. Working clean. It is what it is. Working clean means you're not swearing or doing topics that would be unseemly. Sex, drugs, extreme politics, sort of hatred or whatever. A clean set. Someone says, I have a clean 15 minutes. That means they got 15 minutes material. They don't swear. So that's an important term to know. Other terms you probably want to know is talking about the light. Is you might not have heard this. Again, this is for beginners. Sorry, guys, but give me the light, or I got the light. That means someone's running a show, and they generally give you a light when you have a minute left, or they might ask you, "Hey, you got a 10-minute set. When do you want the light?" This is generally used because people tend to riff a little bit, and you want that light to have a minute left, so that, because as a practiced professional, you know what you do at the close of your routine. And then you get the light and you go into your close and leave them laughing, right? Like we talked about before. Hope those general terms help a lot. I didn't think I had to go over them, but people are like, hey, you're doing a series for new people. You should probably do the real basic stuff. And it's my bad for not mentioning the light when it comes to open mics. I did mention to go over your time, but I didn't talk about the light. But anyway, thank you for your time, and hope to talk to you again soon.